Hey, good day. Welcome to RFD Today on a Wednesday, June the 5th, 2019. I'm Rita Frazier in studio. We're joined also in studio by Kirby Wagner. We had Kirby on the show yesterday. Kirby, you were in Pike County, really in the heart of now what we'll call the Great Flood of 2019.
Yeah, I was definitely down in the mix of it, Pike and Scott counties, visiting the communities along the Illinois and Mississippi rivers, and there's a lot of water.
So you had mentioned to me that you had helped sandbag before, but in Iowa. What was it like to be side by side with Farm Bureau members?
It was an experience to have. It's hard to watch because those guys, that's their communities. They live there, and they really care. So they worked hard, and it was great to be able to be there and help them out. And I feel like I couldn't help them enough. They'd been sandbagging most of the night, or they'd been working all night checking for sand boils and things of that nature all night.
And where were you specifically yesterday?
Oh, I visited about everywhere. I was down by New Canton and Hull, and then along I went through Winchester and some of those areas. Blake Roderick gave me a pretty nice tour.
He's amazing. We appreciate his updates, and we will topic this issue. We will talk flood issues and management this first half hour of RFD Today. The Director of Agriculture, John Sullivan, will join us. He and the governor made some important trips around the flood area yesterday. We'll talk with the Director of Agriculture, Sullivan, and we'll also visit with Rebecca Clark at the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, all coming your way on this edition of RFD Today.
Spring is here and things are buzzing. Farmers and pollinators are working together to help feed us. In fact, 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat exists because of bees, butterflies, birds, bats, and other insects. Pollinators are important to our food system and the ecosystem overall. That's why farmers and those in the agricultural industry are working together to protect pollinators through education, research, and conservation efforts. Visit ilagformonarchs.org to join the buzz. That's ilagformonarchs.org.
From your livestock to buildings and everything in between, your coverage needs may change as quickly as your farm operation. As a leading farm insurer, Country Financial is here to help you keep your coverage needs on track. We have the experience and expertise to help protect your farm and the technology to help you manage things on the go. Country Financial. When you're ready to start, we're ready to help. Learn more at countryfinancial.com/farm. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. This entity is an equal opportunity provider.
RFD Radio Network's Jim Taylor connects rural routes for you. You can trust Jim every morning for your overnight markets. He gets up early to help keep farmers on top of their game. Here's a bit about his rural routes.
I have the opportunity to cover something different every day and provide listeners with up-to-date markets, news they need to do their job and be successful, from legislative issues to crop updates and weather, of course.
Be it routes or routes, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
We are back here on RFD Today on the 5th of June, 2019. Joining us, the Illinois Director of Agriculture, John Sullivan. Director, you had what you would call a bird's eye view from the air and boots on the ground in the flood-stricken areas of Illinois yesterday. What did you see?
Yeah, good morning, Rita. So we did get a chance to the governor and Secretary of IDOT and IEMA and State Police and the National Guard. We had a chance to view. We actually flew over the Illinois River from basically Scott County down to Grafton, and most of that area, the levees have been protected. They've done a lot of work, and things look pretty good overall. But we did fly over. Well, I think they call it the Nutwood levee that had breached the day before, and so quite a wide gap in that levee, and I think they estimated around 11,000 acres of some of the best farmland in the state, as far as producing land. Watching that water go through that levee was pretty disheartening, I got to tell you.
So we were just talking to Kirby Wagner, who happened to be in the Pike County area yesterday with Blake Roderick. But, it's hard for us, if you're not there, if you don't see it with your eyes or feel it and touch it, it's hard to really kind of understand the impact.
Well, and I'm going to go back a couple of days, Rita. On Sunday, I actually saw Blake over in Pike County, over on the Mississippi River, and also talked to that would have been down in the Snai drainage district, and they were needing some straw, and I just happened to have some there at the farm, so I took it down there. But while I was down there, I went out on the levee and actually got up on the levee and walked down it a ways and saw some of the challenges. And I tell you, and I know the Mississippi, they're feeling somewhat comfortable with the Mississippi right now, at least over in that area. I think it's crested and is starting to drop. They feel pretty confident. But that being said, to walk along that levee and see that water, I mean, just literally up to the top, and in a couple of spots, they even had it sandbagged and put some walls up to because it was really a little bit taller than the top of that levee was. But just to see there and see all that water and see how fast that water was moving, man, it just really puts it all into perspective. And then some of the challenges that they're facing, I mean, some of the oddest things, they worry about beavers, that are burrowing into the levees and the disaster that can cause. And that's why it's so important that they be vigilant and up and down those levees and checking them, just on a very regular basis.
So from the government perspective, with your conversations with the governor, what's the next step for you guys? What kind of conversations did you have as you went back home?
Well, first of all, the commitment and the governor's already activated about 200 of the National Guard, which I can't say enough about the soldiers, the men and women out there that are helping fill sandbags and delivering sandbags. That was just tremendous. But he okayed an additional 200 Guard members, knowing and realizing that this flood event it's not going to be here one day, 1 week and gone the next. This is, they're talking about the Illinois especially being up for, weeks, if not months, that they're going to be concerned with. So it's a long-term disaster, and so the commitment was made yesterday by the governor and by all the agencies that we're going to do whatever, provide whatever resources that we have to for the long term, and make sure that we can, assist the folks that are out there fighting the flood. So I think that was the message yesterday, that this isn't a flash in the pan, that the 200 Guard members that are there right now, that's just hopefully we won't need more, but if we need them, they're going to be there and they're going to be available. I pulled into Winchester yesterday, Rita, and stopped at the stop sign, and 6 IDOT trucks went by, and they were loaded to the, big tandem trucks are loaded to the very top with sandbags. I mean, just to see the effort and the folks that are filling those sandbags and the volunteers and all the different agencies working together, it does give you a good feeling. But boy, it sure brings everything back to reality about just what the impact is that this flood is having.
Director, this is Kirby Wagner with Illinois Farm Bureau, sitting in studio as well. I was attending yesterday, appreciated your comments. One thing you hit on that I think is really important for people to know is how well the Illinois agencies are working together. Would you care to comment on how well and just in what the agencies are doing together?
Yeah, it's just, it takes coordination. I learned back, of course I was born and raised between the Illinois and the Mississippi River and spent a lot of my time growing up on the Mississippi. And back in 93, we were, helping farmers move equipment out of the bottoms, there in the Warsaw bottoms, what we referred to, and, help them do that. And then, of course, lost the levee and most of those levees in 93. But, we learned a lot. Every flood event, we've learned a lot as far as what needs to be done and what's the proper steps and how important coordination is. In 2008, during the 2008 flood, I was the state senator at the time, and really that's when it all came to, from my perspective, came to a realization about how important it is to go through that, that chain of command, and so that you're not duplicating. You don't have multiple people doing multiple jobs, the same job at the same time. So, we've learned a lot, and yesterday to see all that coordination by all the different agencies, and making sure that everybody, knows what their role is, that they're following through, and all the time that we're keeping in mind safety and making sure that everybody's protected as best they can. It's just quite a process to see, how much manpower that takes. And then you got the folks that are actually out there on the levee, filling the sandbags, putting them in place, delivering them, patrolling it. It's, we're just trying to support those folks as best we can.
About 45 seconds here remain. What is your message to the farmers out there, the farmland that's impacted by the flood?
So I think most importantly is the message I was trying to get out yesterday and doing it here today, is that those farmers, if they're out there on the levees and they're trying to protect their levee and their farmland, they need to be aware that there's some very important dates that are fast approaching. If they want to take advantage of the Prevent Plant program through the federal crop insurance, today is kind of the day that, as far as corn is concerned, especially in the northern part of the state or most of the state, with the exception of way in the south, that they need to be in contact with their crop insurance agents, and they need to be making some decisions very soon whether they're going to go ahead and try to plant a crop, or wait a little while here and try to, make a decision. But if they need assistance, if they need help, if they need information, all they have to do is contact the Department of Ag, and we will do everything that we can to help them with the resources that they need.
Oh, Director, thank you so much for your attention to this issue and for your leadership. Director John Sullivan, Director of Agriculture here at the Illinois Department of Agriculture. Have a good day, and we will be back with more information from the flood areas and the Illinois Emergency Management Association. Rebecca Clark will be along. She's the Communications Manager. This is RFD Today.
And FarmWeekNow.com journalist Dina Stroish connects rural routes for you. From the Farm Bill to crop insurance to GMO labeling, her expertise is apparent in the stories she reports. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I get to meet interesting people and share their stories, and I get paid to do it. I cover ag policy and really enjoy keeping the farming community updated on these important issues.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Warmer weather means a longer honey-do list. Your county farm bureau can help you stay on top of your project list and save you money along the way. A Farm Bureau membership offer includes discounts on equipment and supplies from Grainger, plus free shipping on all standard Grainger products. Browse thousands of items from landscaping equipment to power tools. Anything you need to get the job done, Grainger has it. Not a Farm Bureau member? Call us at 309-557-2689. Or visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our technical skills,
our math, our engineering skills.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills.
You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. Support us at 4h.org.
Being around too much loud noise like a leaf blower or rock concert can cause permanent hearing loss. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. Hearing loss is the third most common chronic health condition in the U.S. Almost twice as many people report hearing loss as diabetes or cancer. The louder a sound is, and the longer you're exposed to it, the more likely it will damage your hearing. Repeated exposure to noise can cause stress, anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, heart disease, and many other problems. Hearing loss from loud noise at home and in the community can be prevented. Avoid noisy places. Use earplugs, protective earmuffs, or noise-canceling headphones when near loud noises. Keep the volume down when watching TV or listening to music and using earbuds or headphones. Get your hearing checked and ask your healthcare provider how to protect your hearing from noise. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
Welcome back to RFD Today. Also checking in with Rebecca Clark, the communications manager for the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. Rebecca, just a quick update on that position and a little bit about what you guys have been doing since the waters have been rising here in Illinois.
Yeah, we have been at this for quite a while, and everyone has always told me that a flood is a marathon and not a sprint, and boy, can I tell you that is 100% accurate. We have been flood fighting since mid-March. That's a long time, and our communities have been dealing with this. Our state agencies have been dealing with this, and now we're to the point where we're ready to call in for additional help, and that's what we did yesterday with the governor calling on 200 additional guardsmen to join the flood fight along the Illinois and Mississippi rivers.
It is amazing. I was laying there this morning thinking about how tired I might be, but for the people that live along the rivers who have been sandbagging, not once, but several times perhaps this spring, up and down, it's been a struggle.
It has been, and I don't envy those people who have to make the choice right now. Do I stay or do I go? But Rita, that's where we're looking at right now. We're to the point where these rivers are at critical levels, and it's really important that these individuals, the folks that are living in these river communities, to be thinking about their evacuation plan and what are they going to do. Because when the river rises, it will rise, and it will rise fast. And safety needs to be our priority right now.
And when you say rivers, yes, we're dealing with the Mississippi and the Illinois. Where are we in crest currently as we talk on the 5th?
So we are starting to see the Mississippi River crest up in the upper Mississippi, the Quincy area. I got a report this morning that one of the key bridges up in the Keokuk area opened today at like 4 a.m. So it's always positive when you hear major lines of transportation reopening. That is always a good sign. So I think we're starting to see where we're going to start to move into a recovery mode in some parts of the upper Mississippi. But that's important because it'll allow us to reevaluate some of our troops, our missions in west central Illinois, like in the Grafton, Hardin, Alton area, and then also start to pre-position downstream in the Randolph, Union County area so that we can prepare for the flood fight that's coming their way as well.
And when you are the agency, Illinois Emergency Management Agency, what are you able to provide those citizens who are affected? How does that process work?
So the Illinois Emergency Management Agency is here to support the local governments, the local counties. So when a community has exhausted its resources, they call in and they go to the pantry, if you will, and look for more supplies. And the Illinois Emergency Management Agency supplies those. When you need more sandbags, when you need more manpower to lay those sandbags, when you need resources, pumps to help get water out of your levee area, that's what we do. We're here to help support the local governments.
It's an amazing agency, and I'm sure it's been quite an experience dealing with what we now think will be beyond the 93 flood.
Yes, we are absolutely. I hear this all the time when I'm out in the community. I'm actually stationed in Winchester at the State Unified Area Command so that I can directly help communities. But I hear it all the time. I was here in the 93 flood. This is a different beast altogether. I can tell you that in some areas, we are going to beat the records of 93. The crest will overtop the 93 records. And this has been a longer lasting flood. At one point, we had 12 consecutive days of rain, which just adds insult to injury on these rivers that are already swollen. The levees are heavily saturated, and it's just increasing pressure on those levees. And that's why I go back to what I was saying earlier. That's why we need residents to continue to evaluate their family evacuation plans.
Do we know how many households, what kind of numbers are we looking at for both the Mississippi and Illinois rivers as far as, residents affected?
I don't have a good number on that because really most people who choose to leave their homes or evacuate the area will stay with friends or family. They don't necessarily always seek out a shelter. So we have had people in our shelters that are open, and might I add, we have shelters identified up and down the river from Quincy all the way down to Cairo. So if anyone needs a help or assistance, please call 1-800 Red Cross for those assistance. But we really have only had a few people who have sought those shelters, but it's better to have them ready and available. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple minutes remain here, Rebecca. What didn't I ask that you feel is very pertinent for Illinois residents this week?
You know, one of the things that we're having a real problem with is people that want to go out and look at the levees. It is not safe for people to be out on the levees, walking on those levees, or boating right now. The Illinois River, the Mississippi River, is closed to recreational traffic, and I know everyone is curious and wants to take pictures and see what's going on, but please listen to me when I say it is not safe. We need people to stay away from those levees, stay off the river, because when you're just putting yourself in harm's way, and also our first responders who may need to help come out and assist will be in harm's way as well. So please, we just urge people to stay off those levees and stay off the rivers at this time.
You mentioned the 800 number. Again, for folks who need help or want to help, perhaps, what's the best way to reach out and get more information?
Absolutely. The Red Cross has been a tremendous agency to work with. You can reach them at 1-800-RED-CROSS. That they have a 24-hour disaster line. So if let's say you're pregnant and want a sandbag, but you just probably shouldn't be, call the Red Cross. There's other opportunities with meals or supplies or running food from point A to point B. There's always opportunities for someone to help.
Rebecca, thank you so much for your time and what you're doing. Rebecca Clark, Communications Manager, Illinois Emergency Management Agency. We'll be back with more RFD today. More farm news and information ahead. Stay tuned for more RFD Today here on the Illinois Farm Bureau Radio Network.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
The Illinois economy runs on our homegrown agricultural products. Our dairy, beef, pork, corn, and soybeans grow the agricultural industry by nearly $20 billion each year. But we don't just grow Illinois, we grow North America. Canada and Mexico account for over $45 billion in U.S. agricultural exports, and they support more than 1 million American jobs. Exports to Canada and Mexico matter to everyone in the agriculture and food industries.
A message from Illinois farmers and their checkoff programs.
If you're in the mood for some sprucing up, you're in luck. From big to small or farm to front yard, your Illinois Farm Bureau member discount from John Deere is ready and waiting to help. It's easy to think green when it's the Rewards Loyalty Program with savings on equipment, special parts, and home and workshop products. Whether your tasks involve mowing, planting, or cleaning, you'll be set for whatever your work requires. All you need to do is sign up, have your membership number handy, and go to johndeere.com/Farm Bureau.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
All ag.
All Illinois.
All now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
We know you want the best for your family. We do too. That's why Illinois farmers continually look for new ways to help. We're working with Mother Nature to preserve water, protect land, and provide food. From our fields to your table, we want what's best for all of us. and for future generations to come. Learn more about conservation efforts at ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
We are back on RFD today, and again, you can read more about the flood of 2019 coverage on farmweeknow.com, and lots of pictures there as well. Well, we're going to transition to talk to one of our favorite guests for the RFD Today show.
Yes, thank you.
Do you feel favorite?
I do feel favorite,
yes.
Thank
Todd
you.
Lowry is the communications director.
Yeah. Program director
For the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation. You are in the class of 2020, working with some fantastic leaders, and you're almost to halftime.
Yes, almost. Well, we'll be coming up. We started our summer session. We took a break in March after our Washington, D.C., Gettysburg National Study Seminar. We've taken a break because, we thought everyone would be planning.
Mm-hmm.
And, no, we always take the break in the spring for a couple of months, and then, of course, we take a break in the fall for a couple of months. So we're going to be gearing things up again here in the latter part of June up in Chicago for our business communications, media, and the outreach seminar.
You have an outstanding group of young people, and
Yes.
we'll call them young people because your age bracket from 25 to 49. Now, you and I guess we're not considered young people anymore.
I know.
Dang it.
I know.
But that's your age bracket.
Right. And it isn't just direct producers. It's people in agribusiness, lending, risk management, marketing, associations. And it's a very diverse class. We have approximately 11 full-time producers, and then the remainder of those are engaged in the agricultural industry as a whole.
And I know several of them and talk to them actually on a regular basis. Chris Reynolds.
Yes.
Joe Camp in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Jill Johnson.
Jill Johnson, yes.
So we are talking about, and as your name would imply, the future leaders of this state.
Right. And what we are doing is these are a group of individuals that not only are currently making leadership strides and are playing a pivotal role in agriculture, but they're looking to grow even more, and they're looking to grow as leaders. Some people think, they'll say, well, what's your position on this? We're not an advocacy organization. We are a leadership organization. We may train you to take on that role, but that is our primary focus is preparing leaders for the future of agriculture.
Now, this is a testimonial for your program.
Right.
So Chris Reynolds, I've known him, I'm sure, I don't know how much of an age difference, but when I was at WSMI, when he started at the local Soil and Water Conservation District years and years ago.
Correct.
So then fast forward, he a member of your class and now with the American Farmland Trust.
Right.
We just talked 2 days ago about an interesting program that he's working on, and I said, I can so tell that you are in this program, this leadership program.
Right.
The confidence level. So many things. It's just a wonderful program.
And it's great to see the class members evolve as they start to take in that knowledge and put those things to use. You mentioned Joe Camp.
Yes.
Joe has been giving in fact, he was right at the Evergreen FS building which we're situated in. And we did Dartis Communications, which is out of Iowa, and they are public presentations. We spent a day and a half working with them. And it was very refreshing to see. I mean, it was fantastic. And he's been on other media outlets that I've seen him either seen him on the television or heard him on the radio. And it's very refreshing. I mean, to see that kind of growth. And not that he already didn't have it before, but just like you said, that confidence level that really comes through.
And you do it each and every class. So I can think of several just in this past class. But, how many years has this been going on, and how is it funded?
1984 was the first class. Of course, you have to lay the groundwork before then, which I believe started around 81 or 82. And basically, we have over 500 alumni. Unfortunately, as we've been around for a while, some of those alumni are starting. We're starting to lose some of those alumni. But at the same time, we've had a number of alumni in the class. So we started around 82, and the second part of your question was how many you just asked what time we started and what else?
Yes, and I believe, so how many classes? So every 2 years. And then I also ask about funding.
About funding. Thank you very much. We are a 501c3. We are privately funded. We do not take any tax money. I sometimes run into people, my friends, my neighbors, who go, so is that tied in with a university or anything like that? And it's like, no, we're not. Now, some other ag organizations across the country do have those ties.
Right.
But no, we are privately funded.
Mm-hmm. And most of the people that go through the process of applying, this is very elite. You do have to go through a process.
It is a process, and in fact, we've got it online right now at agleadership.org. We encourage people to do that because not only do we ask for input from the people that are trying to get into the program and applying, it also involves your employer. It's a major time commitment, and also even with your spouse or significant other, they're involved in the process too. And then after you turn that in, of course, we do have interview processes throughout the state because many of our candidates, including our class members right now, are located across the state of Illinois.
Yes. And you talk about the commitment, and I've talked to many that have gone through the program. Kelly Bassett was one that was in years ago. And so you have young children. It's a big decision. Do you take that opportunity while you're young? Maybe your kids are young. You do have to give up a little bit.
And Rita, you make an interesting point. One of the things we should talk about, if you're going to be a leader, sometimes you have to balance that. The family, am I going to miss out on this one thing? Am I going to have to specially coordinate and so forth at home? And that's one of the it's great that you brought that up because that's one of the things we try and get across.
Wonderful. We're going to continue this conversation with Todd Lowry with the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation when we come back. This is RFD Today.
Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and DeLosh Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
What's the excitement about buying a brand new car when you pay full price for it? County Farm Bureau members have a reason to be excited. A Farm Bureau membership gives you 2 car purchase discounts. When members buy a new Ford vehicle, they receive $500 off their purchase. And with the purchase of a qualifying Lincoln vehicle, they receive $750 off. Everyone loves a good deal, and the money saved is worth the price of our annual membership. This is just one of our 300,000 plus discounts that are always changing to fit our members' needs. Not a Farm Bureau member? Visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
Time to check your markets here on a Wednesday. We are still lower in the corn, soybeans, and the wheat this hour. Nearby July corn down 6 1/4, 4.19. September down 6 1/2. We're at 4.28 1/4. December corn down 6 1/4, 4.37 3/4, and the March down 6 1/2 at 4.46 1/4. July soybeans in the nearby down 4 1/4, 8.77 1/2. September down a nickel. November soybeans down 4 1/4, 9.05. Nearby July wheat Chicago down 9 3/4, 4.97 1/2. September down 10 3/4, and December wheat down 10 3/4, 5.17 3/4. Bean meal July down 1.70 at 3.19.30, and the oil for July steady this hour at 27.49. Those are your numbers here on the RFD Radio Network. We're back on RFD today. Just want to remind you, Solar International has 5 full-service Case IH dealerships located throughout central Illinois. They carry a large selection of both new and used equipment, as well as the technology and parts to keep your operation up to speed. Solar International. Todd Lowry is our guest in studio today. And Todd, you are with the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation. You're proud to be a part of this group. You have lots of central Illinois and agriculture roots.
Yes. I grew up in Urbana, Illinois. My dad was the superintendent of Urbana Country Club for 38 years.
Wow.
So I had the horticulture background, and then my grandparents farmed in Ford County, Gibson City, close with nearby in Ron Warfield territory.
Yes.
And Ron also serves on our education committee, by the way.
Nice.
And so I had both. I had the horticulture and the agriculture background. In fact, I consider farming. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away before I could get to the age where that would be a going concern. But I've always kept my roots in it. Always helped out on the weekends during harvest, sometimes during the fall. You know, back when you used to shell corn, you know, I got my work out there. So I've always kept up with it. And when I was at the McLean County Chamber of Commerce, I did government affairs, but I also ran the ag programs there, and not to this scale, but the Ag Exchange program, which is where we took people that weren't involved in agriculture at all, from the community, business leaders, public servants, and we took them out about 5 different times a year over a 6-month period, and got them exposed to what was McLean County's number one industry.
Yeah, and that is such an effective program. In many counties around the state do just that.
Right.
And sometimes you have to be there, just like with your class. You know, it's not something that you can actually teach here in a classroom all the time. You take them out and they experience the industry.
Exactly. And not just, when we go to D.C., for example, and we met with the folks from the World Bank and the director of development for the continent of Africa.
Wow.
And you figure out, how that plays in the world markets, how that, not just with agriculture, but what's going on there, how that affects us back here at home in Illinois, in the country, and not just agriculture. It was eye-opening. And to see what, our government officials are doing, for example, the State Department, one of the things that I came away with, myself and also several of the class members, I had no idea the State Department was so involved with agriculture. I mean, when you think State Department, you think, North Korea and missile talks and, all
right.
that, but they're not. They see that as something that they need to focus on, security-wise and as far as world issue-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're exposed to things like that and get the opportunity to meet with the decision-makers that are doing that, it has a profound effect on you. And I think we've seen it in the classes before, and we're seeing it in this current class now.
The other thing that's amazing is what happens in these classes. We talked about past class members, your current class, the fact that they get to know these other students, these other class members, personally, professionally. Then next year or 2 years from now, when they're working on an important project and they want to collaborate with somebody else in agriculture,
right.
Guess who they're going to call?
Exactly. And there is a camaraderie there between our alumni and the current class, and they do their own reunions. And by the way, for our development director, I'd be in big trouble if I didn't mention our golf outing here at Crestwick Country Club on June 24th.
Okay.
For alumni or supporters alike. So that's some alumni events that we do. When we go up to some of these seminars, we try and structure an evening with local alumni that are in the area to come and meet the new class. And if they're in the same class, or it bridges the gap between classes. So there's always the opportunity to continue that networking as well.
So you have a big summer lined up, a couple of events. Tell us a little bit about July and August.
July and August, we're going to be the GrowMark, July is the GrowMark Global Challenges Seminar. That is going to be up in Chicago. And really is going to be a nice tie-in with what we're going to be doing for our kind of give an idea for our international trip, which will be in late February, March. Another thing that we do to prepare for that is the Ron and Melanie Warfield International Seminar about 3 weeks before we go overseas. That will be in February. But we're going to be doing that in July, and then in June we're going to be having the Marty Andreas Energy and Ecosystem Seminar down in the St. Louis metro area. And we're going to also, while we're down there, be linking up with the St. Louis Agribusiness Club. They are bringing in a group of legislative aides, assistance directors from D.C., and we're going to be having an evening there with them as well. Nice. So down there in Belleville at Eckert's. So it's going to be a busy summer. They don't come from a programming standpoint. When I start November, I kind of I remember lifting my head up from the desk and the computer screen slightly, and then I put it back down again. So the summer does space it out a little bit, but we still want to keep up the intensity and the productivity of the program, even though we're a little bit more spaced out and a little bit more manageable as far as the seminar schedule.
The other thing I think about is, you guys work on so many different areas. The advantages are huge. You want them to stay in agriculture, but you probably have seen a lot of those leaders also spread out in other industries.
You know what? And we want them to stay in our industry, but we realize that there's a sense of reality there, and it doesn't happen very often. We had a member of our class, the previous class, that has gone into real estate, but that's okay because she's dealing in a rural area. And she says, I'm going to put so much of my knowledge to work that I've gained from this program. I don't want you to think that she's going to sit idle because it's more than just that.
Right.
Leadership skills are transferable.
Yes.
I mean, you can take them anywhere you want to go, whether it's your professional life or your personal life. And that's one of the things that's great about the program.
Now, you talked about the application process. So where are we there? And if somebody hears this and is like, you know what, I'm going to do that. What's step one?
Step one is to go to our website, agleadership.org. You'll have a link there that you can go to work on your application. Also, there's contact number, obviously, phone number, emails, and so forth. You can reach out to us that way. Obviously, there's always going to be questions with a program that is 19 months. What are the commitments and so forth? That's what staff is here for, to answer your questions, and we'd be more than happy to do that. But once again, agleadership.org is where you can find the information.
Dress for success, and you practice what you preach.
Yeah. We take pride in how we present ourselves. At the same time, though, we realize, and we had a discussion before this class started with our board of directors, there are some changing styles as far as business professional dress. We want to keep current with the times. Sometimes you can, they say you can never overdress, but sometimes you want to dress appropriately for the situation. At the same time, we want to make sure that we maintain that professional, image, if you will. And make sure that we're dressed for the task that is in front of us.
You're awesome.
Well, thank you, Rita. You are too.
And you also know the CNH jingle from years ago.
CNH from Hawaii.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Todd Lowry has been our guest in studio. We surely appreciate a monthly spot from the Illinois Ag Leadership Foundation.
Yes.
We'll be back with Congressman Mike Bost when we come back. Here's your livestock summary on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Rita Frazier. News reports that BSE, otherwise known as mad cow disease, has been discovered in a Brazilian cow. It does not seem to be sparking a huge rally in the CME cattle futures. However, August cattle futures were up 1.3% yesterday. Analysts think that the discovery of the disease may play a big role in redirecting Chinese demand for beef away from Brazil and perhaps to the U.S. Much will depend on how China responds to this, according to Steiner Consulting Group. They say Chinese buyers scouring the world to get additional beef as demand in their country far exceeds their ability to meet their needs domestically. Should Brazil's BSE issue continue, the U.S. could be in a position to negotiate the supply of beef. That's your livestock summary on the RFD Radio Network. How do people benefit from raising livestock here in Illinois? Rich Giebert, Illinois farmer, president of the Illinois Farm Bureau.
Well, growing up on a livestock farm was always interesting, and I enjoy it more today than I did back then. But it did give me the opportunity to have a good work ethic, learn to get up in the morning. And that was difficult during my senior days at high school and college days. I had a tendency not to go to bed at a respectable hour. But no, it was always enjoyable on the farm and getting up before daybreak and milking the cows and getting the chores done. And then go about the rest of the day's business.
Illinois Farm Bureau, along with beef, corn, milk, pork, and soybean associations, make up the Livestock Development Group, supporting the Illinois livestock sector. For more information, check out illinoislivestock.org. Welcome back to RFD Today on a Wednesday. I'm Rita Frazier. Joining us for this final segment of today's program, U.S. Congressman Michael Bost, representing Illinois' 12th Congressional District. Congressman, thanks for spending some time. We'll talk trade and other issues, but you tell me you were home this past weekend back in your district where farmers in your area have a lot of work to do this spring.
Right now, though there's many other agriculture issues we're dealing with out there that we're dealing with here in D.C., the most important thing on a majority of the people's minds there is the weather. We've got a rising river that we're beginning to worry that it may crest at a higher level of 93 levels. We were bouncing back and forth between different levee districts talking to, remember, in my district, I've got probably more of the Mississippi River lining my district than anywhere else in the United States. Got everything from the north. We had a trouble with the pump station up around Alton. Also, the concerns that we have at Columbia. We're pretty sure it may breach, and if it does, we're trying to work there right now, putting rock on the high pressure side, so that if it breaches, it doesn't wash good farmland away. It may flood, but it won't wash it away. So yeah, we're working on those issues. But we've got several issues here in D.C. as well.
For sure, no doubt about it. And I saw you, it was last October, I believe, when you were with Secretary Sonny Perdue in your home district at Eckers, as we talked about that first round of market facilitation payments, what a difference those made. And now we have a little bit more details, or at least more information, on the market facilitation payments round 2.
Right. As we're moving forward with those, as far as round 2, we try to keep through our office people advised if they're having trouble making sure, how the payments are coming and everything like that. We've got a really good staff that tries to assist. Of course, the Farm Bureau does a great job as well as making sure that people are aware of those payments and how they apply to them. Some concerns that certain people were having is the market. As a matter of fact, I met with a farmer specifically. He maxed out too fast on the last one. Because of that, it's just knowing how to plant and how to prepare for it.
You're in a very unique and a special district because you have to really balance in industry with sure. Agriculture and trade is certainly a tricky issue. What about China and this particular issue with the trade war that continues and really why we're getting mitigation payments?
Right. With China, most of my people in ag understand that China has cheated them as much as any other industry, and so that's why they're wanting to get it fixed as quick as possible. But they also know that China's got to they've got to quit messing with our markets, because like what they did with soybeans last year, as far as saying that they were going to make this big purchase and then short selling our farmers and causing the rate to drop that way. As we're negotiating all this on the China front, of course, the important thing to remember is we're also on the USMCA that we're working on is now made it to the House. We've got 90 days from last week to process through. My intent is to vote for it. I think it has a tremendous amount of help for our ag industry as well as other industries. I hope that the Speaker calls it fairly quickly. We know that Mexico and Canada are already on board. I know it means a lot to the dairy, especially the northern dairy farmers, with the concern of Canada has basically had some really strict tariffs on all of our dairy products for a long time. This should negotiate to where we can actually compete in that market as well. But and then our pork production being sent into Mexico, I think that this is a kind of a quick thing that's threatened with the tariffs that the president's doing right now. We need to get the USMCA passed. And with what the other argument is that the president is having with them as far as the immigration, it is my hope that we get through that fairly quickly.
Certainly a lot to digest, no doubt about it. So as we talk here with you this first week of June, what are a couple of other things that you're focusing on?
Well, let me tell you that right now we're working on the Bail Act, like I did before. Remember that the Bail Act increased the loan guarantee when we first started working on from $750,000 to $2.25 million, because that guarantees that, everybody that's listening here that knows ag knows that 750 wasn't much. We were able to get in the Farm Bill an increase to 1.75, which is good, but that still wasn't that 2.25, and so I'm carrying a bill that's still pushing for that 2.25. When you can go through 2.25 million as a new farmer pretty quickly right now. Everybody understands that, with the cost of everything from planters to combines and tractors, not counting overhead as far as storage facilities and things like that. So we're trying to get that through. Hopefully we'll get a positive reaction with that.
Certainly have your hands full, no question about it. Anything else for Illinois farmers? We have about a minute left here.
We're going to continue to work with and for the farmers here in the state of Illinois. Remember that as we're negotiating this, quite often, we talk about raising livestock and or grain, but the diversity that occurs all around this nation, we've got a lot of those competing factors, but we've got to make sure that we watch our markets, we make sure that the trade goes on, and like I said early on, we've got to continue to work right now to try to get through this flood season and see what we can salvage out of the crops and who can get their crops in and when they can get them in.
Representative for Illinois' 12th Congressional District, U.S. Congressman Michael Bost. Congressman, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Rita. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
More farm news and information ahead. Stay tuned for more RFD Today here on the Illinois Farm Bureau Radio Network.